On the way to the fields, Papa turned on the Carcachita's headlights to see through the thick fog that blew in from the coast. It covered the valley every morning like a large gray sheet. Ito the sharecropper was waiting for us when we arrived. Then a black pickup truck appeared. We could see it through the wall of fog, not far from where we parked. The driver stopped behind our carcachita and, in perfect Spanish, ordered the passenger who rode in the bed of the truck to get off. "Who's that?" I asked Papa, pointing to the driver. "Don't point," Papa said. "It's bad manners. He's Mr. Diaz, the contratista. He runs the bracero camp for Sheehy Berry Farms. The man with him is one of the braceros." In his broken Spanish, Ito introduced us to Gabriel, the man who accompanied the contratista. Gabriel looked a few years older than Roberto. He wore a pair of loose, tan pants and a blue shirt. The shirt was faded, his straw hat was slightly tilted to the right, and he had long, dark sideburns that were trimmed and came down to the middle of his square jaw. His face was weather beaten. The deep cracks in the back of his heels were as black as the soles of his garroches. Gabriel took off his hat and we shook hands. He seemed nervous, but he relaxed when we greeted him in Spanish. After the contratista left, we marched in line to the end of the field, selected a row, and started to work. Gabriel ended up between Papa and me. Because it was Gabriel's first time harvesting strawberries, Ito asked Papa to show him how to pick. "It's easy, Don Gabriel," Papa said. "The main thing is to make sure the strawberry is ripe and not bruised or rotten. And when you get tired from squatting, you can pick on your knees." Gabriel learned quickly by watching and following Papa. At noon, Papa invited Gabriel to join us for lunch in our carcachita. He sat next to me in the back seat while Roberto and Papa sat in the front. From his brown paper bag, he pulled out a Coke and three sandwiches, one of mayonnaise and two of jelly. "Not again! We get the same lunch from that Diaz every day," he complained. "I'm really tired of this." "You can have one of my taquitos," I said. "Only if you take this jelly sandwich," he responded, handing it to me. I looked at
Mr.
Papa's
Mr. Coke,
face.
can you come to the office, please? Coke time.
I looked at Papa's face. When I saw him smile, I took it and thanked him. "Do you have a family, Don Gabriel?" Papa asked. "Yes, and I miss them a lot," he answered, "especially my three kids." "How old are they?" Papa asked. "The oldest is 5, the middle one is 3, and the little one, a girl, is 2. And you, Don Pancho, how many do you have?" "A handful," Papa answered, grinning. 5 boys and a girl, all living at home." "You're lucky. You get to see them every day," Gabriel said. "I haven't seen mine for months." He continued as though thinking out loud. "I didn't want to leave them, but I had no choice. We have to eat, you know. I send them a few dollars every month for food and things. I'd like to send them more, but after I pay Diaz for room and board and transportation, little is left." Then, in an angry tone of voice, he added, "Diaz is a crook. He overcharges for everything. That sinvergüenza doesn't know who he's dealing with." At this point, we heard the honking of a car horn. It was Ito signaling us that that it was time to go back to work. Our half-hour lunch break was over. That evening and for several days after, I was too tired to play outside when we got home from work. I went straight to bed after supper. But as I got more and more used to picking strawberries, I began to play kick the can again. The game was always the same. We played by Carlos's rules, and he refused to let Manuelito play. Work was always the same too. We picked from 6 o'clock in the morning until 6 in the afternoon. Even the days were long. I looked forward to seeing Gabriel and having lunch with him every day. I enjoyed listening to him tell stories and talk about Mexico. He was as proud of being from the state of Morelos as my father was about being from Jalisco. One Sunday, near the end of the strawberry season, Ito sent me to work for a sharecropper who was sick and needed extra help that day. His field was next to Ito's. Gabriel was loaned out to the same farmer. As soon as I arrived, the contratista began giving me orders. Listen, Huerquito, I want you to hoe weeds, but first give me and Gabriel a hand, he said. Gabriel and I climbed onto the bed of the truck and helped him unload a plow. The contratista tied one end of a thick rope to it, and, handing the other end to Gabriel, he said, Here, tie this around your waist. I want you to till the furrows. I can't do that, Gabriel said with a painful look in his face. What do you mean you can't? Responded the contratista, placing his hands on his hips. In my country, oxen pull plows, not men, Gabriel replied, tilting his hat back. I am not an animal. The contratista walked up to Gabriel and yelled in his face, Well, this isn't your country, idiot! You either do what I say or I'll have you fired! Don't do that, please, Gabriel said. I have a family to feed. I don't give a damn about your family, the contratista replied, grabbing Gabriel by the shirt collar and pushing him. Gabriel lost his balance and fell backward. As he hit the ground, the contratista kicked him in the side with the tip of his boot. Gabriel sprung up and, with both hands clenched, lunged at the contratista. White as a ghost, Diaz quickly jumped back. Don't be stupid. Your family, he stammered. Gabriel held back. His face was flushed with rage. Without taking his eyes off Gabriel, the contratista slid into his truck and sped off, leaving us in a cloud of dust. I felt scared. I had not seen men before. I had I had not seen men fight before. My mouth felt dry, and my hands and legs began to shake. Gabriel threw his hat on the ground and said angrily, That Diaz is a coward. He thinks he's a big man because he runs the bracero camp for the growers. He's nothing but a leech. And now he tries to treat me like an animal. I've had it. Then, picking up his hat and putting it on, he added, He can cheat me out of my money. He can fire me, but he can't force me to do what isn't right. He can't take away my dignity. That he can't do. All day, while Gabrielle and I hoed weeds, I kept thinking about what happened that morning. It made me angry and sad. Gabriel cursed as he hacked at the weeds. The following morning, when Ito told us that the contratista had gotten Gabriel fired and sent back to Mexico, I felt like someone had kicked me in the stomach. I could not concentrate on work. At times, I found myself not moving at all. By the time I had picked one crate, Papa had picked two. He finished his row, started a second, and caught up to me. What's the matter, Panchito? He asked. You're moving too slow. You need to speed it up. I keep thinking about Gabriel, I answered. What Diaz did was wrong, and someday he'll pay for it. If not in this life, in the next one. He said, Gabriel did what he had to do.